My name is Diane S. Komar, 32 years old. My boyfriend's sister came to me crying during our engagement ceremony. She placed something in my hand and ran away before I could stop her. I even tried to call her back. Moments later, my boyfriend rushed over, angry and shouting, demanding, "What is all this?" I did not say a single word. I simply handed him the same thing his sister had given me. The moment he looked at it, he burst into tears and walked away without saying anything. I am a civil engineer working on commercial construction projects across the Midwest. My name matters less than what happened on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. But since this is my story, you should know it. I had been with Andrew for 4 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue, one of those warm summer afternoons where everyone smells like smoke and sunscreen, and someone is always yelling over a cooler. I fell hard. He was charming without seeming fake, attentive without being overwhelming, the kind of man who remembered small details and made you believe they mattered. I did everything right. I saved for the ring. I planned the proposal on a weekend trip to the Smoky Mountains. I got down on one knee at sunset overlooking the valley, with the sky turning orange behind him, and my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the box. He said yes. His family loved me. My family loved him. Everyone kept saying we were the kind of couple people rooted for. Or so I thought. Our engagement party was set for Saturday, September 16th at Andrew's parents' place. They had a beautiful property with a sprawling backyard, old trees, and enough space to make 70 guests feel intimate instead of crowded. There were string lights everywhere, catering from that Italian place downtown everyone raved about, white tablecloths moving softly in the evening breeze, and little gold signs with our names printed like we were already halfway to a wedding. I wore the emerald dress Andrew picked out for me. He looked handsome in a navy suit, the one I loved because it made his eyes look darker. He kept touching the ring on his finger, like he still could not believe it was real. Every time he did, I smiled like an idiot. I thought it meant he was happy. The party started at 5. By 6:30, I was making my rounds, accepting congratulations, hugging relatives, answering questions about wedding colors I had not even chosen yet. Andrew was across the yard laughing with his cousins, easy and bright, playing the role of happy fiance so perfectly that later I would wonder how much of him I had ever truly known. His younger sister Brooke had helped set up earlier, but I had barely seen her during the party. She was 24, worked as a dental hygienist, sweet but quiet. In 4 years, we had probably spoken a dozen times, always surface-level things. Weather, work, family holidays. She never seemed unfriendly, just guarded, like she was always carrying a thought she was afraid to say out loud. Around 7:15, I was near the back porch talking to my friend Connor about a highway project deadline when someone grabbed my arm hard. I turned and saw Brooke. Her mascara was running down her face. Her eyes were red and swollen, like she had been crying for hours. She looked terrified. "I need to talk to you," she whispered. "Please, right now." Connor's smile faded. He stepped away without asking questions. "Brooke, what happened?" I asked. "Are you okay?" She shook her head violently and pulled me toward the side of the house, away from the lights, away from the laughter, into the darker strip of yard where the music sounded distant and warped. "I'm so sorry," she said, barely breathing through the sobs. "I should have told you months ago. I should have said something, but I was scared. I did not know what to do." My stomach tightened. "Told me what?" She reached into her small purse and pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking so badly, she almost dropped it. She tapped the screen a few times, then pressed it into my palm and closed my fingers around it. "Just look at the photos," she said. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Then she ran. I called after her once, but she disappeared back toward the party, slipping through people like a ghost trying not to be seen. I stood there, holding her phone, confused, my heart starting to pound before my mind even understood why. The screen was open to her photo gallery. The first image made my stomach drop. It was Andrew, my Andrew, kissing a woman against a wall. Not a casual kiss, not some blurry misunderstanding. His hand was in her hair. Her body was pressed against his. The woman's face was partly turned toward the camera. I did not recognize her. I swiped. Same woman, same day. Andrew in a gray shirt, I remembered. They were walking together, her arm looped through his hand resting low on her back. I swiped again. A restaurant table. Her hand on his thigh. Another photo. A hotel lobby. Another. A car. Another. Andrew laughing the way he laughed when he felt completely comfortable. Different outfits, different dates, weeks of photos, maybe months. Then the last one. September 13th, 3 days before the engagement party. The night Andrew told me he was having dinner with his mother, in the photo, he was in a car with the woman, kissing her, his hand curled around the back of her neck. I could not breathe. The party noise faded until it sounded underwater. I put one hand against the siding of the house to steady myself. I remember thinking, absurdly, that my dress was too tight, that the grass smelled wet, that someone nearby was laughing too loudly for a world that had just ended. Then Andrew's voice cut through it. "What the hell is going on?" I looked up. He was storming toward me, anger already on his face. Behind him, Brooke stood frozen near the porch steps, pale and shaking. "Why is my sister crying?" Andrew demanded. "Why are you standing here with her phone? What did you say to her?" People started turning. Conversation stopped, one by one. My mother looked over from near the dessert table. His father took a step forward. I did not answer. "Diane," Andrew snapped. "Answer me." I simply held out Brooke's phone. He took it with the impatience of a man who still believed he was innocent. Then he looked down. I watched his expression change, anger to confusion, confusion to recognition, recognition to horror. The color drained from his face. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then he started crying. Not soft tears, full body shaking sobs. He looked up at me once, desperate, ruined, and whispered, "I can explain." But he did not explain. He turned and walked straight through the party, past his parents, past mine, past 70 people who had come to celebrate us, and disappeared into the house. I stood there, holding nothing but the truth. Then I walked to my car and left. I drove for 3 hours that night. I did not go home. I did not answer my phone. It rang constantly, lighting up the cup holder with Andrew's name, my mother's name, Connor's name, Andrew's mother's name. Every call felt like someone reaching into the car to drag me back to a life that had already collapsed. So I kept driving until the roads blurred and the party clothes on my body felt like they belonged to another woman. Around 11:47, I was sitting in a 24-hour diner off the interstate, staring at coffee I had not touched when Brooke texted me. "I am staying at a friend's house tonight. I am so sorry I ruined your party, but you deserve to know." He made me promise not to tell, said it was over, said he would end it. But I saw him with her again last week, and I could not keep lying for him. I am so sorry. I read it once, then again. My hands were shaking when I typed back. "Who is she?" The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Her name is Amanda. She works at his office. It has been going on since March. March. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of Andrew coming home to me, kissing me, letting me plan a wedding, letting me stand in front of his family with a ring and a future, while Amanda existed in the margins of every day I thought was ours. At 1:30 in the morning, Andrew called again. This time, I answered. "Please come home," he said immediately. His voice was wrecked from crying. "Please, Diane, we need to talk. I need to explain." "Explain what?" I asked. My voice sounded nothing like me, flat, cold. "Explain 6 months of cheating?" It was not like that. I laughed once, but there was no humor in it. Then, what was it like? "Please, not over the phone. Come home." "I am not coming home tonight." "Then tomorrow. Please, just give me one chance. I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you." "One mistake?" I whispered. He went silent. I hung up. I slept in my car for a few hours in the diner parking lot, then drove to Connor's apartment at dawn. He opened the door in sweatpants, took one look at me, and said, "Jesus Christ, Diane, get inside." I told him everything. Brooke, the photos, Amanda, March. Connor sat on his couch with his hands clasped, staring at the floor. "He wore your ring," he said finally. "He stood there at that party, wearing your ring." That was the part I could not escape. Not the affair itself, not even the photos. It was the performance. Andrew smiling, accepting congratulations, touching the ring like it meant something, while knowing there was another woman who had his secrets. Sunday morning, I went back to our apartment. Andrew was on the couch, still in the clothes from the engagement party. His eyes were bloodshot. The apartment smelled like stale air and panic. "Thank God," he whispered when he saw me. "Please sit down." "I will stand." He swallowed. It started in March. Amanda and I were assigned to a project together. Late nights, stress. It just happened. That is not an explanation. That is a setting. He flinched. "I knew it was wrong," he said. "I tried to end it." "When?" He looked down. "Give me dates, Andrew." I don't remember exact dates. The last photo was 3 days before our engagement party. That was supposed to be goodbye. "You kissed her in a car as goodbye?" His face crumpled. "I know how it looks." "No," I said, my voice rising. "You know exactly what it was. You just hate that I know, too." He started crying again, saying Amanda meant nothing, saying he loved me, saying he was scared of marriage and confused and weak. Then he made the mistake of saying they had not slept together. "Do not lie to me again," I said. He covered his face. "Yes," he whispered. "A few times." That was when something inside me shut. "Get out." His head snapped up. "What?" "This apartment is in my name. Pack what you need and leave." "No, Diane, please. We can go to counseling. I will quit my job. I will do anything." "You should have done anything before Brooke had to hand me proof at my own engagement party." He stared at me like I had become cruel. Maybe I had. Or maybe I had just stopped being available for humiliation. "Get out before I call the police." He left with a duffel bag and one last promise that he would fix it. But some things cannot be fixed. Some things can only be survived. The next 2 weeks were hell. Andrew called constantly. His mother cried on my voicemail. His father apologized with a shame that sounded genuine. My parents supported me, but even they asked once if I was sure I wanted to throw away 4 years over one mistake. I told them, 6 months is not a mistake. It is a second life. Brooke checked in quietly. She had moved out of her parents' house after Andrew screamed at her for ruining his life. I told her she had done the right thing. I meant it. On October 2nd, I agreed to meet Andrew for coffee. Not to reconcile, to understand. He looked thinner, darker under the eyes. He told me he had started therapy, said his therapist thought he self-sabotaged because he was afraid of marriage. That is convenient, I said. I am not making excuses. You are describing excuses with better vocabulary. He lowered his eyes. I asked him one question. Did you ever actually plan to stop seeing Amanda? Or were you going to marry me and keep her on the side? He did not answer. That silence gave me everything I needed. Then I told him I had returned the insured engagement ring and was using the money to move closer to my job site. A new city, a smaller apartment, no memories. You are leaving? He asked, breaking again. Yes. Please do not. You lost the right to ask me to stay. Before I left, he told me Amanda had been married. Her husband found out, kicked her out, and she had lost her job. Andrew said Amanda blamed him. He said everything was falling apart. I almost felt something like pity. Almost. Good, I said. You two can finally be honest about something. I moved in early November. Work swallowed me whole, and for a while, I let it. 60-hour weeks, empty evenings, quiet rooms. Healing did not feel beautiful. It felt like surviving one ordinary day after another until ordinary stopped hurting. Connor visited around Thanksgiving and told me Andrew had been telling people we were on a break. I shook my head. He is still lying. Yeah, Connor said, but fewer people are believing him now. On New Year's Eve, Brooke texted me, Happy New Year! I hope this year is better for you. You deserve happiness. I stared at it for a long time before replying. Same to you. She told me she was moving to Portland in February for a fresh start. Then she asked if we could get coffee if I was ever there. No pressure, just two people who understood the same wreckage from different sides. I said yes. 7 months have passed since the engagement party. Andrew finally stopped contacting me in March. Last I heard, Amanda's divorce was ugly, and Andrew moved in with a friend after his parents refused to let him hide at their house. Brooke and I still talk sometimes. Not constantly, just enough to remind each other that doing the right thing can still hurt. I have not dated seriously. Maybe I will. Maybe I need more time. Trust is not something you rebuild because someone tells you to move on. It grows slowly, if it grows at all. Some nights, I still think about that moment beside the house. Brooke's shaking hand, the phone in my palm, Andrew's face when he realized the truth had finally reached me. Part of me wishes I had never seen those photos. But the bigger part of me knows better. A future built on a lie is not a future. It is a trap with flowers on it. I am 33 now, single, starting over, and I do not know exactly where life is taking me. But at least this time, I am walking towards something true.